Story. Good. Story. It's a story about a Chassid of the Baal Shem Tov. There was a Chassid of the Baal Shem Tov, follower of the Baal Shem Tov, a very poor, simple farmer. He lived like 1 day's distance drive away from the Baal Shem Tov, and he really wanted to see the Baal Shem Tov. But 2 days drive, whatever distance, he lived a good distance away from the Baal Shem Tov, a distance of 2 days, whatever drive but he didn't have any money. He was a very poor person, so he saved up his money, penny on penny, dime on dime, until finally he had enough money that he could go to the Baal Shem Tov for the month of Tishrei, which that's the month of all the holidays of Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and the Sukkot. He would stay by those, and he also had enough money that he could give his wife so that it would last her for the whole month. So that's what he did. He saved up money, finally had enough money, and he gave his wife all the money. She blessed him and sent him off, and he went to the Baal Shem Tov. He got to the Baal Shem Tov. He was so happy, so overjoyed. A simple man like himself, standing in the same room where the Holy of Holies was, the Holy Baal Shem Tov. So he was just standing there in the back, trying to be as not noticeable, unobtrusive as possible, standing in the back, and the place was just packed with Chassidim, thousands of Chassidim, who knows how many. And suddenly the Baal Shem Tov calls out his name, says Eliezer from outwits, whatever the city. Everybody looks around. Eliezer, who's Eliezer from outwits? So he looks and says, somebody says, "Is that you?" Say, "I'm Eliezer, I'm from outwits, but why would the Baal Shem Tov call me?" So they make the Chassidim move away, and they push him a little bit forward to the Baal Shem Tov. And before he gets close to the Baal Shem Tov, the Baal Shem Tov yells out, "Aren't you ashamed, a person that's a big sinner like you, to step into such a holy place as here, with all of the transgressions that you've done, to be in the same room, the holy room that I'm in?" This Eliezer doesn't know where to bury himself. He just doesn't know what to do. Why is he talking to him like this? The Baal Shem Tov puts his head down like this, right? And he says, "Get out. Get out of here. I don't want to see your face. Don't step foot into this room ever again. Eliezer Matvatsk, out." So he says, "What am I going to do?" He just arrived. It was a journey. 3 days? He saved his money for so long. So what could he do? So he went outside and he was all bewildered. He was just like somebody just hit him in the head with a sledgehammer. He just doesn't know where he is, what's going on. And he starts crying. The confusion and pain is so great, he almost can't cry. He goes over to a wagon, or he gets on his own wagon, whatever, and he leaves. He leaves the town. He can't stay there. So he leaves. So in those days, you couldn't drive straight. You couldn't drive at night. There was no street lights. So he has to stop. He stops at like an inn. There were inns on the way, and you would stop there. You could buy a little bed or something. You could lay down a little bit. So he stopped off at this inn, and he sits in the corner, and he's crying. He doesn't know what to do. Why did the Baal Shem Tov evict me? His whole life, he just wanted to see the Baal Shem Tov. And he shamed me in front of everybody. He evicted me. And so all of a sudden, he hears singing coming from outside. Yeah. Doors open up, come in, a whole group of Chassidim, 8 Chassidim, 9 Chassidim. And they push tables together, and they order a couple bottles of vodka and some pickles or whatever. And they're singing, so one of the Chassidim says to the other, "Look over there in the corner. What do you see?" He says, "Sitting over there in the shadows, there's a Jew that's miserable, depressed. How could it be possible that a Jew would be so close to the Baal Shem Tov and he's depressed? Obviously, this is one of the Jews, which is a misnagid. The misnagdim were Jews that opposed the Baal Shem Tov. They hated the Baal Shem Tov. They hated the whole idea of Chassidut and this loose Judaism and happiness. Judaism is a serious business. Misnagid, it's called a misnagid, a mitnagid. Let's go over and befriend him." And maybe we can convince him to come to the Baal Shem Tov. So they go over to the corner and they say, hello, my friends, could you sit with me? And this Eliezer says, listen, just leave me alone, please. I just want to be alone. I just went through something really terrible. They said, no, come and sit with us. It'll be okay. Don't worry about it. No, I don't want to. So they grab him and they pull him and they sit down with him and they say, come, sing a song. He says, I don't want to. Please leave me alone. They say, make a l'chaim. And he says, no. As soon as he goes, no, like that, no, as they open his mouth and they pour a little cup of vodka in his mouth. And he swallows it. They give him a pickle, something to eat, and he swallows it. And so he says, okay, no, I want to go. And this happens like 4 or 5 times until finally he starts drinking himself and he joins with everybody else. And they sit there the whole night. The whole night they sit and they're talking about God and talking about serving God and loving God and fearing God and helping other Jews. And they have Torah ideas. All of a sudden, morning. Comes the morning. They all wake up, crack of dawn, right? And they all pile into the wagon again. And they're going to go traveling back, right? And they're traveling back. They're like 2 hours away from the Baal Shem Tov. So they travel back to the Baal Shem Tov, and there it is. Oh, they're beginning the prayers. By the time they get there, they're bringing the prayers, and the Baal Shem Tov is standing in front of everybody. And meanwhile, this Eliezer, he's totally drunk, knocked out, totally stoned, drunk. He's just he's just talking to himself, and he's singing songs to himself, and he's smiling at this. And they take him into the Baal Shem Tov. They think he's never been there before. They take him to Baal Shem Tov and they say, now he is going to see the holy face of the Baal Shem Tov, and he's going to be happy the first time in his life. So he stands there and he's just all drunk and everybody's singing songs before they start to pray. And he's sort of singing along with them. And all of a sudden the Baal Shem Tov says, Eliezer of Atvatsk. And they look around and they remember this guy's, he said his name was Eliezer. So he says, this is him. They open up a big thing, and all of a sudden Eliezer lifts his face, and he sees the Baal Shem Tov is calling his name. It was like someone threw a bucket of cold water on him. Suddenly he came to, and he's thinking to himself, how did I get back here? Maybe it's just a dream. Maybe yesterday was a dream. Maybe that I thought I was here yesterday. Maybe that's the dream. Maybe I'm just imagining yesterday. Maybe he's all confused, doesn't know what. Says Eliezer, let's come close. They push him close. The Baal Shem Tov hugs him, gives him a big kiss. So the Baal Shem Tov says, you're probably wondering what's going on, right? Yesterday I threw you out like a dog, and today I'm embracing you like you're my only son. So I'll tell you what. Said yesterday you came into the room. I saw that the angel of death was dancing over your head. You were not going to live for at the most another week. You wouldn't see Rosh Hashanah. You wouldn't hear the sound of the shofar. You would die before Rosh Hashanah. So I put my head down and I prayed. I said, God, have mercy on this Jew. He never did anything wrong. He's a good person. Why would it didn't work? I saw the angel of death was still dancing over your head. So I said, well, I'll embarrass him. I'll embarrass him. If you embarrass somebody, it's like you kill him. I said, maybe then the angel of death will be happy. So I said, how could you defile this holy room by stepping foot here? You're a sinner. You're a bad person. Embarrassed you in front of everybody. I figured maybe that would be it. A person is embarrassed. It's like you killed a person. Didn't work. Even though it would be a big punishment for me to embarrass you. Not allowed to embarrass people. But it doesn't make any difference to me. I would have saved your life, but it didn't save your life. It didn't save you. So I thought, well, with the angel of death, you got to be clever. You got to be clever. So I realized what I have to do. I prayed to God for an answer. Got the answer. I decided I'll evict you. If I evict you, you're not going to hang around the town. You're going to travel back home. If you travel back home, you can't go in the nighttime. You're going to have to stop off at an inn or a tavern or somewhere to sleep. If you stop off in the inn or tavern, you're not going to be able to go to sleep. You're going to be all worried. There's other Chassidim that are coming in the opposite direction. They're coming in the opposite direction, and they'll see you sitting there, all miserable. When they see you sitting there all miserable, they're not going to leave it alone. Like a person having a wedding, he wants everybody to be happy. They're coming to see me. They're all happy. They're not going to be able to stand it. When they're going to see you, they're going to pull you in with them, and they're going to sing and dance, and they're going to say l'chaim. They're going to make you drink l'chaim. When you drink, when a Jew drinks, and you're sitting with a bunch of people, you don't just make a blessing and drink vodka. You say l'chaim. L'chaim means to life. So if we have 10 Jews all sitting together, and they all say to life, it's 10 Jews is like a legal court, even 3. It's like a Beit Din. And it's like all of you saying, L'chaim, L'chaim, you're making a decree to life, to life, to life. Maybe that will conquer the angel of death. And it worked. I saw that it worked. When you came in here now, the angel of death was not dancing over your head. My plan worked, and it saved you from death. That's why every time you say L'chaim, you should be serious. Have a good day with Mashiach. Now, God willing, we will meet tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock.